Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. So yesterday's video about Temple of Elemental Evil was a little heavy. I thought I'd follow it up with a description of how fun it was to make Temple of Elemental Evil. So kind of a counterpoint to yesterday's. The first thing I have to say is when I was approached about making a D&D game, I was ecstatic. I mean, 14-year-old D&D playing Timmy was going, ee. It was just super exciting, especially because I got to pick the module. And I picked Temple of Elemental Evil, and just so people know, that was the part of a grand plan. I was going to make Temple of Elemental Evil. I was going to follow it up, because I assumed it would do spectacularly, with the D series modules, the Descent into the Depths, the whole Drow series, what it's called, followed with the penultimate Q series. Wait, no, I back up. I was going to do the G series, the Giants, and then, the Hill, Fire, Cloud, and then go into the Drow series, and then follow it up with Queen of the Demon Web Pits. Turns out, they're all Greyhawk. The levels worked, so you could just keep playing the same party if you wanted to. I had big plans. I was super excited by this. And this was all like in the first few months. I was really excited. I really wanted to do stuff. I picked Temple. I had to cut up. I owned one module of it. We were having trouble finding it quickly enough, so I cut mine up. A pristine module that I had owned since the 80s. And so we could distribute it to people so the artists could look at the maps and designers could pick different areas and work on them. The most exciting thing happened, I'd say about a year in, is I got to call Gary Gygax and ask him some questions. Now, sidebar. A lot of people go, especially when I'm in meetings, I'm very good at controlling my emotional state. I've been told that by friends, by family, by colleagues. So I want you to know that when I was on the phone with Gary Gygax, I was like, oh my God, it's Gary Gygax. But what I had externally was, why, hello, Mr. Gygax. What a pleasure it is to speak with you. I have many questions. And we talked, I want to say, for about 40 minutes. It was so cool to talk to him. I had so many questions about the module. There were things that were contradictory. By the way, spoiler alert for a more than 30-year-old module, probably a 40-year-old module. There is a Prince Thrommel, and he had a sword called Fragorok. Thrommel is said to be a paladin. Those are only lawful good. Fragorok was chaotic good. It's an intelligent sword that actually damages any lawful good that touches it. I did not understand this. Mr. Gygax said that he was planning to introduce chaotic good paladins. Sort of a Celtic flair is what he said it was going to be on paladins. And I was like, ooh, this was way beyond the scope of anything I could do. I doubt if I could even get it approved. So I didn't do that, but it was super exciting to hear. He also told me that Zugdmoy, the fungal demon princess who lived at the bottom of the temple, was not originally the boss of the temple. It was supposed to be an elder elemental god that was even in levels below where you found Zugdmoy, but he ran out of time, so that was never made. But there's elements of it that appear here and there in the module if you read it. He also told me that it was supposed to connect to Loth. There are at least 2 agents of Loth in the module that we retained in the computer version because she really had plans for the temple. She had plans within plans within plans. So my connecting it to those modules was something he not only approved of, but he had planned to do himself. So that was great. But the best part of this conversation was at the end, and he had been sick, he had had a stroke. He said that he was really happy to have talked to me because he felt like things were in good hands. And I said, well, you really inspired me when I was young. And his response was, I hope you do the same and inspire young people too. I hope I did. I hope I did, Mr. Gygax. Because he passed away soon after. This isn't as positive as... Actually, it is positive. Let me talk about... So when we first started making Temple, I had mentioned that I had made a module, Bandits, Necromancers, to teach everyone the rules. I wanted everyone to play 3rd edition so they understood what the game was like. Now, some people on the team had played a lot of D&D, if not 3rd edition, but one person, Sean Craig, a programmer, had also played 3rd edition, and he wanted to GM. And I want to tell you some stories from that campaign because this will give you a good insight into our team dynamics. So we made characters. I don't remember everyone's characters, but here are the important ones. We had Steve Moray made a thief. I made a cleric of a god of luck, which gave me Dimension Door as an ability, meaning I could just randomly teleport indoors 100 feet, outdoors a few hundred yards, and I could even carry a person. So me and a friend. We had Mary Meister playing a wizard, and Mary was Steve's girlfriend. This is important later. And Peter Delgado, one of our artists, he made an orc fighter. And he rolled really low for his charisma. I don't remember if it was a 3, but I think it was a 3. Now, this is 3rd edition, so he didn't have to make an assassin. It was a fighter. And I remember telling him, I said, Peter, your charisma's a 3. This is a really ugly fighter. And he goes, no, he's not ugly. He's beautiful. He just has a bad personality. And the name of his fighter was Shirl of E Temple. Somewhere early in our campaign, we had found a magic axe, and Shirl could use axes. Could use axes as well. I think he even had cleave. He wanted it. Now, of course, it was good to have a fighter with a powerful weapon, but we're like, it's hard to divide one weapon among a whole group, and it gets sold for like 20,000 gold. And we're like, well, we could sell it and divide the money. No. Peter was like, no, Shirl's keeping it. We're like, okay, all right. Weeks later, we're on an adventure. We step into a room. Shirl steps first. He's a fighter. Standing next to the door was a giant troll. I don't know if it had an axe or a sword. It had something sharp. And it rolls a sneak attack on Shirl. Sean rolled the dice behind his DM screen, but then he lifted it up so we could all see that he rolled a 20. Now, Shirl was already hurt. So Sean said, I'll roll the damage in front of you, and he rolls damage, and it's maximum. So it's a maximum sneak attack critical hit. Shirl took so much damage that not only did she drop negative, which would be unconscious, and past -10, which is dead, they got hit past -50, which is destroyed. So Sean says, well, the troll swings down and chops Shirl completely in half. Blood and viscera spray everywhere. We're all like, oh, and everybody's really quiet. And I don't know why I said this. I went, wow, Shirl's even ugly on the inside. And everybody starts laughing. And this horrible moment got transformed. But then when we finished killing the troll, which we managed to do, and we're collecting his treasure, we go to get Shirl's thing, because Peter's like, I'm going to make a new character to avenge Shirl. The axe is missing. It's not there. And we're like, wait a minute. And Sean's like, you look everywhere, and it's an axe. We could tell if someone had it. No one was holding it. And we're like, well, it's gone. And Peter was irate. He was like, no, I'm bringing in a new character. I'm going to get that axe. He was convinced one of us had it. He didn't know how. He didn't know why. He didn't know where it was, but he was like, I know. So he makes a new character. A few weeks later, we're adventuring in woods. We get attacked by giant bees. No, you hear that? Bees, whatever. For some reason, they were slaughtering us. We were losing health. Our spells and abilities weren't doing anything. We were losing, and we were losing badly. And I was like thinking, this is not going to end well. And we're outside in a fairly dense woods. If I picked a few hundred yards in any direction, I'd be invisible. No one would know where I was. So I decide I'm going to dimension doorway. When I start saying that to Sean, the DM, Mary says, take me. I'm out of spells. I'm almost out of health. And she's right next to me. So I tell Sean, okay, I'm going to touch Mary. Steve says, Sean, can I whisper something to Tim? And Sean said, yes, but it has to be really short. And Steve goes, it's okay. It's 4 words. He writes something on a slip of paper and hands it to me. I read it, and I look at Sean and I go, I take my hand off Mary, put my hand on Steve, and dimension doorway. Boom, we're gone. Mary gets killed the next round. She's mad. I don't know who she's more mad at, me or her boyfriend, Steve. Everybody wants to know what's on that paper. The session ends. I go talk to Steve. The 4 words on that paper. I have Peter's axe. Steve had an item called a glove of holding that worked like a bag of holding. But when you touch something, it could go in the bag, the glove. He had rolled his sleight of hand. He's a thief. He took it. He took the knife. He took the axe, and he'd had it all those weeks. Everywhere we went, he was always looking for a good time to sell it. Of course, afterwards we had a discussion that he had to split that money. But the question then is Peter going to find out? What is it worth to Steve for Peter to find out? I honestly don't remember what happened after that point. But that should give you a good idea of the timbre and tone of a Troika D&D session. And it was a great team, and everybody loved D&D. We loved making it. It was just a rough development. Anyway, I thought you'd like to hear some good stuff about Temple, and there it is.